I'm black, blackity black to black. What's going on, man?
You feeling black today, man?
Bruh.
Steve's like,
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all.
I'm feeling that way. I mean,
good, man.
Man, I feel good.
So it sounds like you had a positive experience last night.
But before I talk about that, I want to talk about your music prowess out of nowhere.
My music prowess? Oh, do tell.
Gee, okay, if anybody, obviously you guys don't know the secrets of behind the scenes stuff. So Dan had an iPod that he was not using.
Old
like,
one,
hey,
old kind that goes click, 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 that kind.
Yes. And he was like, hey, you want this? I was like, sure. I'm assuming he's giving me an empty iPod.
As was I.
That's what I'm assuming.
You're welcome.
And I open this thing. I'm sitting there. Okay, I'm at home. And I don't know if I had the alarm set for my iPod dock. And I was sitting there and all of a sudden music starts playing. And I was like, yeah. And I'm just bobbing. I was like, wait a minute. And I feel my hip and my iPod's on my hip. So I was like, what the crap is playing that music? And I go in there and it's Dan's iPod that I'm charging. And I was like, wait a minute. There's music on this? No, not only is there music, there are thousands upon thousands of songs on this thing. And all of them are like I'll be scrolling through them like, what do I want to listen to? And I was like, Dr. Dre to Chronic. I was like, oh, snap. So I start playing that. And then I keep on scrolling through and I see Eminem's Slim Shady LP. I was like, oh, snap. And I started listening to that. And I'm like, whatever. And I go through it. I see Ice Cube's America KKK's Most. I was like, oh, snap. Like
that's the one, man.
Then Prince. He has Prince, the Calm album. He has Gold Experience. I mean, he has everything, the hits, B-sides. And I'm like, yo.
Don't forget the Black album.
Yo. How did you, okay. Tell me what was happening in this period of time with you.
What do you mean?
Like, did every song you heard you just put on your iPod?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well,
like,
I think I gave,
happening?
Just so you know, I mean, you could probably find out, but I'm pretty sure I gave you in the neighborhood of, I inadvertently gave you. By the way, I don't mind that you have it, but I'm happy that you got it. I'm glad I didn't, because I was going to sell it on Craigslist, you know? And I'm glad that I didn't give that to somebody. I'd rather give to someone that cares. But I think I gave you in the neighborhood of roughly 120 gigs worth of music, something like that.
Dude.
So I got that thing.
Packed.
Let's see. Dude, I've had a music collection for as long as I can remember, but that obviously it's at its biggest now. Now that I've been able to digitize everything, it's a lot bigger.
You have everything. Everything.
Yeah, I did for a while. I forgot to tell you that at one point in time, I was actually thinking about being like a DJ. Not a DJ like, like,
yes.
Not that kind of a DJ, but more of just, hey, Carol and Steve got married. You know what I'm saying? One of those kind of things, like a wedding DJ or like, just multi-purpose DJ. Yeah, I was getting ready to buy equipment and all that shit. And just because I don't know. So I was basically a sponge. Anything anyone had, I'm like, let me take that. Let me take that. Let me take that. And I just kept throwing it into my computer. So I have shit in there that like I'll never listen to.
I mean,
ever.
I definitely have the Coheed and Cambria collection.
There's everything from like country music to jazz. I don't even listen to country music. Jazz, hip hop, R&B, rock, metal, freaking Cuban music. I mean, you name it, dude. It's all in there.
You have Ready for the World's album.
I do have Ready for the World's album. Dude, I'm telling you, there is some shit in there. I even had some stuff I remember buying for my daughter when she was little. So if you look closely, you might even stumble upon some like Hannah Montana soundtrack or something.
Oh, that's
like that.
funny.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in there.
You have you have Terrence Trent D'Arby, which is expected. And I was like, okay, he has Wishing Well. And then I was like, the other one is called Delicate. And I was like, I've never heard this song before.
You never heard Delicate?
Never.
It's a jam.
I didn't know. I did not know. I was like,
it makes you want to like take your shirt off when you're listening to it, huh?
Dude. I was like, but he's bad. I mean, Terrence Trent D'Arby is the dude. Now, I haven't checked for Milli Vanilli. I think I might check for that.
I don't think there's any Milli Vanilli on there. I think that was done on principle. Like, I think I may have come across some Milli Vanilli, and I was like, nah, I'll just delete it.
It seems like you would have that.
Just for the novelty, huh?
Yes, like you would just have that, especially as a wedding DJ, for you to put that on. Ba 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 ba.
I never really truly got to that. I never truly got to that spot, though. You know what I mean? So I never really got to Milli Vanilli putting that on there, just because, you know, I never became a DJ. But I also like kept continuing to build my stuff, and so I guess that just never made it onto the list so far. Like, would you like me to put some on there and give that to you as well?
Oh, for sure. I'll tell you what, dude.
I'm too good to you, dude.
Everybody, you really are. Everybody, I know they remember, but I don't think they remember how much of a murderer Eminem was.
Back in the day, when he first came on the scene?
Bruh.
Game changer.
That dude was that's why, look, Rakim was like, look, man. He said, Rakim was like, for the God MC to say, no. This guy is one of the best that ever walked. For him to say that about Eminem, I'm like, well, when Rakim says it, why are we arguing? When everybody's like, well, my opinion, I'm like, I don't care. Rakim said it's different. When Rakim has an opinion on hip hop, that's the pretty much the solid ground. It's over. Speaking of Rakim, you have a bunch of his stuff too, and I let Maj hear it.
Oh, I'm aware.
Bruh, Rakim, man. If you listen to it today, is there anything today that's rapping as good as Don't Sweat the Technique? Like, no, who's rapping that good?
He's his own beast, man. He made he carved his notch and everything, and he's not going anywhere.
He is. I told Maj, I was like,
he's forever preserved.
That's why they call him the God MC, because he did that in 89. Don't Sweat the Tech. Like, he was rapping. Or in 90, 89, he was like rapping. He went from he went from that, and then Big Daddy Kane and him kind of changed it, saying, hey, why don't we like actually rap? And Slick Rick too. Slick Rick changed it into this really smooth
they started throwing more poetry into it as opposed to just rhyming.
Exactly. He like Slick Rick had a story. He had a whole bedtime story. You're like, wow, that was like a whole story that meant really nothing, but it was still an actual beginning and end. You're like, oh, wow.
I'm glad that you found that Ice Cube's America's Most Wanted, though. That is one of my all-time favorites, man. You like Predator better, though, huh?
Love Predator. And I think also it's just like, Predator
Here comes the Predator.
Yes, and he had those radio hits like, today was a good day. Chickadee, check yourself before you wreck it. Like, he had those little ones where you're like, ugh.
Yeah, DOS effects on there.
Yes, and so I'm just like, but yeah, it's official. Rap has went downhill since then. Now, kids, but even Maj was saying, he's he's 17, and he was like, you know what? The rap is better than it is now. It's not really rap now. It's not what they're doing now isn't like rapping. Back then it was rapping, but
doesn't he listen to like that trap stuff?
No, he listens to who does he has like every so often he'll hit me to like an art. He'll like, hey dad, let me hear you this. The only thing that he's recently like he'll put me onto like an R&B person. It's really dope. He's the one that hit me to Kendrick Lamar. And I was like, oh yeah, but man, when I heard To Pimp a Butterfly, that was an album, mind you, from these days. And I took off my headset after the song was over or the album was over, and I just sat there. You have to listen to it from the beginning to the end, because in between you hear him doing this poem, and then in between each song, and it goes further and further. Turns out at the end he's talking to someone. And when you hear who he's talking to, you're going to be like, oh my God.
No, I'll be real with you. I actually have no Kendrick Lamar knowledge whatsoever.
Oh,
I've heard the name over the last couple of years, and that's really about it. I just never really got into it. I think today's the day. You make sure you have time to listen from beginning to Pimp a Butterfly to the end. Make sure you have that time, because you're going to love To Pimp a Butterfly. Is it a full album? Or is that just a song?
Full album. A full album.
Okay.
And it's so different from anything we're hearing. He is rapping his tail off. Like, there are going to be things where you're like, did you hear what he just said? And rewind it and be like, did he just say what I think he just said? It's really good.
So I got to go into study mode is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. You got to be in the zone. But I'm literally going into stuff where, like, I checked for Chili Peppers. You had them. I was like, oh, let me go ahead. Because I hadn't heard Aeroplane in years. And I was like, yep, still holds up. Aeroplane is still a crazy dope song. And I haven't checked for Aerosmith yet, but I'm in the Aerosmith mood. So I'm going to see if you got some Aerosmith in there.
I think I have Pump, if I'm not mistaken, which in my opinion is probably their best album.
What songs do Pump have on it? Does Pump have on it?
Oh, you're trying to quiz me right now, huh?
Oh, no,
well,
I just don't know.
I will tell you this. I will tell you this, man. I'm not the biggest Aerosmith fan. So I couldn't tell you every song.
Really?
But I remember liking it a lot.
Did you like Living on the Edge?
Oh, not really. Like all of that new onset of Aerosmith that was out, like they were okay with like what was that album called? Permanent Vacation. That was a good album. That was the one that kind of brought them back from the dead.
Oh.
But then they started getting into all those, you know, like when all those big action movies started coming out and they were doing ballads for I couldn't do it. I tapped out.
Oh yeah, I didn't. But I did like Love in an Elevator. I loved it. I loved it.
You want to know something? I went to Aerosmith to see Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz was opening.
Are you freaking kidding me?
And I paid to see Aerosmith, and I watched Lenny Kravitz, and of course, someone's probably like, you're crazy, but he blew them off stage. They started playing, and it was nothing but their new shit, and I just couldn't get into it, man. I couldn't do it. I sat there, I'm like, I'm going to wait until Dream On comes on. I'm going to at least see Dream On, see the piano come down, and have him play this song. And then after that, me and my buddy left. We left the show.
Dream On, when I heard the original, it doesn't even sound like it. It sounds like someone else is singing that song.
Yeah, his voice has changed a lot over the years.
It's been,
Steven Tyler, in case you guys don't know who we're talking about.
Yes, but I loved, you didn't like Dude Looks Like a Lady, huh?
It was okay. It was just like radio pop music back then to me, man. I don't know. I was very selective in what I listened to, and that was all over radio and MTV and everything. But I think it was so much all over the radio and MTV that it was one of those things that just gets beaten into your head. So you learn the song, you know it by heart, but you may not even really care for it that much.
You know what? I feel that. But I think with rock, where you dip off is where I came in. Like with Metallica, I came on where you dipped off. Like they kind of got on the radio and I was like, oh, this song is pretty dope. And you were like, oh no, their older stuff is pretty dope. As far as like rock mid-90s happened, yeah. When rock happened, that's where I was like, oh, I can listen to that song. I can listen to Aerosmith that song. But other than Walk This Way, because I considered it a Run DMC song. I didn't even know it was them. But for just them, I came on during Dude Looks Like a Lady. What is it? What is the one about the gun? Janie's got a gun. I like that song. Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
That's on the Pump album.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm,
I like that song.
Now I'm kind of curious.
That was a good song, man.
Be boring people with what's on Aerosmith albums here, but now I'm a little bit curious. Do we even have Aerosmith anymore? Let me see. I'm
Pink?
looking on my iTunes. Pink, the song Pink?
Yes, I used to love that song, man. But it also had Tracy Bingham in it, which I really liked.
Here we go. So, oh yeah, okay. So the songs that I don't know if you know any of these, man. So Janie's Got a Gun's on it.
I liked it.
Young Lust is on there.
Never heard of it.
Fine.
Nope.
That's the jam right there. And then Love in an Elevator.
Yeah.
So yeah. So all right, I'm all right with that one. But it's a good album, man. I like that. But
that song is so freaking, especially the harmony at the end with just three of them singing it. What you talk about?
I would say Permanent Vacation and Pump are probably my favorite Aerosmith albums. But again, not a huge Aerosmith fan. So I don't really know what that counts for anybody. You know what I mean? It could be like their shittiest albums to a big fan of Aerosmith, but I don't know.
What was the Cow Udder one?
That was Pump.
That's Pump. Oh, okay, I'm going to love that album.
Pumping the teats, man.
I see that. Now I see what they did there. Mm-hmm. I see what they freaking did there. I'm going to get on, and then I know I'm going to be able to hear some Metallica on your collection. I haven't even looked for Metallica.
I'm still trying to figure out how I left that all on there. You know what I think happened? I didn't have, you know how they changed the charger from it was the 9-pin or whatever to the lightning cable?
Yes.
Well, I didn't have a 9-pin cable or 12-pin, whatever it was. So I think I was planning on buying one and then just deleting everything and then selling it on Craigslist. But besides you, I've literally not heard anyone express interest for an older iPod like that. So and you rock the shit out of the one that you have. So I figured you're the best person to have it.
this is the one I listen to for music now. This is like because I've heard all of mine, and now I'm going over there and I'm like, oh snap, I didn't know about this. Like I said, I'm gonna get into the Metallica. Hopefully you still do have the one with Enter Sandman, probably.
Yeah, you're covered,
okay,
bro. Don't worry about it.
Because I know you didn't like that album.
No, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. You know what I mean?
Do you not like that it got popular? Is that what your thing is?
You know what I'm saying?
Is that what it is? Is it like the thing where everyone got to love your group? So you kind of got like, I don't like that album.
Are we going to bash? Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why I don't like that album.
Okay, please. I can't wait. I don't understand how you didn't. I don't get
it. Without getting too into the weeds of Metallica, that is the album where there's a producer by the name of Bob Rock that took over. Okay. And Bob Rock, I'm pretty sure, was a guy that did like Shania Twain. I could be, no, I'm sorry. That's Mutt Lange.
Bob Rock's a hell of a name, man. That is you have to do something in music business.
So yeah, that was the first album that was produced by Bob Rock. And I feel like it was the first nail in their coffin. They're getting better. They've gotten better over like, it took them, they basically shut down for a good 15, 20 years to me. And I thought they were complete shit for a long time. I really did. I mean, granted, they're touring the world, making lots of money and have thousands of people cheering for them every night. And I'm Dan that sits at his desk in his bedroom and records podcasts. But still, I thought that they fell off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But some of the people that he produced were like, there's a band called Kingdom Come, which I always thought was kind of like a Led Zeppelin knockoff. Have you ever heard of The Cult? One of my favorite albums is called Sonic Temple by The Cult. Yes. He produced that. So I'm giving him credit. Yeah, like they were more commercial stuff. Motley Crue's self-titled album, Skid Row. But then he started doing, these are the ones that he's responsible for. So these aren't the ones right here. You got, the first ones were Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and then Injustice for All. After that, and I believe it was in 1991. Was it 1991? Pretty sure it was Yeah, it was. They did the Black Album. And this is where he decided to tell James Hetfield to like change his voice and actually sing as opposed to growl. So it changed his vocals. And I don't know if he's responsible, and I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but anyone that listens to Metallica regularly knows. I think he's responsible for James Hetfield's yeah and all of his
I like that.
Ooh, yeah. I can't stand it. Can't stand it, brother. Nope.
He still does it in concert. Like when he does stuff, he'll do that. That's like his
why I don't
thing. Go. Oh wow. Really?
I thought
man. That was his signature. Like he'll have the crowd say it after him. Oh, I thought that was his thing.
All of like he does this thing where it'll like go bang, like the bass drums going. Yeah. It's like hey, 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 hey. All that shit came from that era, and I can't stand it. So
really,
that's just me.
That's interesting. No, because the thing is, it's for me, it's either way. But I thought that was a him signature thing that he's always done. Because I would have known if someone would have, who am I imitating? And you did that, I'd be like, oh, that's James Hetfield. Because that's his thing. That's what he does. I didn't know he just started that during that album. I
really don't know if he did, honestly. That's like that's the least of his crimes. But everything else,
I like his voice for a rocker.
I don't know, man. And then they went into they did this album called Load, and then they did Reload a year later, and they just changed their. And they have every right to. Let me just put that out there. They have every right to do whatever the hell you want. You know what I mean? Who are we to tell a band that makes this music what they should be doing, right?
Yes.
There's always those fans.
Yes.
But it is what it is. And they just changed their sound. They went to like a more of a bluesy sound. They stretched their wings basically, man. And they made commercial music. You know, they made music that was a lot more radio friendly. And it worked for them. I mean, obviously they're still around and everything, but I just think that and I know that I'm not the only one to say this, they lost a huge chunk of fans when they switched over like that. And maybe that's just on us.
Now, do you think they gained more than they lost though?
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, the radio's where people hear the music, right? So they went to the radio audience. They went to like the terrestrial radio audience, the rock radio.
Yeah, because when I see them like, I didn't even search before Enter Sandman. I just knew that during Enter Sandman period, they were like the biggest thing. They were monsters, man.
I think I saw them probably like 5 or 6 times during that era, though. So it's not to say that I just like completely washed them out of my memory, you know what I mean? And wrote them off. I still saw them. They still put on great shows.
And people really love that song. Yeah, I feel you.
There were a few songs here and there that I liked, like Memory Remains and I'm going to say a bunch of songs you don't know right now, I just realized. But there's a few songs off each of those albums that I liked, but I just wasn't feeling their albums on the whole. You know what I mean? I have my 3 that I like, my 4 that I like, and that's generally it for me.
I got a question for you.
What's up?
Some Kind of Monster, when they did that documentary, did they think that album was going to be a killer?
That is actually their worst album, and I think it's pretty much across the board. I think anyone would say that. That was their worst album. Not to bring up the old shit, Steve, but you know how when we're trying to do a show and it's just not popping and things get a little weird?
Yes.
That's that album.
So they knew during the documentary that this is going to be a bad, or did they think we're going to do a documentary about the recording of our greatest album?
Well, from what I understand, I think that no. I think that's just all the timing. I think they got the documentary film crew there because of all the trouble they were having. They just lost their bass player, Jason Newsted. So they were recording as a trio with Bob Rock playing bass. And then James Hetfield decided that he was going to go into rehab for drug and alcohol problems. The band was falling apart and they just weren't connecting. And I think that's what the whole movie was about. You know what I mean? But no, this sometimes things just shouldn't be put out. And I bet you anything somewhere in the back of their minds. Of course, they made a lot of money off that album still. With the name Metallica on it, you're going to make money. Much like Star Wars or slap, you know what I mean? You just slap the title on it.
Sure.
It's guaranteed to make money, but will it hold out? Will it stay true and hold out through time? I don't think that album carries at all. I think that it pretty much failed right from the get-go.
And you don't like that album? Like if you didn't know the documentary and you're like, oh, let me listen to the newest Metallica album, you would say, I don't like this album.
It was horrible. It was horribly produced. For some reason, Lars Ulrich wanted to have his drums sound like, and people know what I'm talking about when I say this, they sounded like he was hitting garbage cans. His snare sounded like he was hitting a garbage can. And they did that intentionally. And I feel like that's partially Bob Rock's fault. I think he sent them down a path, man, and they just completely fucked themselves on that album. Which is why on the next album, he wasn't there anymore. At least that's what I think. That's what I think. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't speak for Metallica.
I mean, I would imagine that
I would guess that it had something to do with that. Like, you know what? Cool. We've had a nice relationship. Time to go a different way.
And who produced their recent albums?
I'm trying to think. Hold on. Did he produce Saint Anger? Yeah, he did. He produced that one. Who did that one? I think that Rick Rubin did one. If I'm not mistaken.
Well, that's going to be a solid.
That was Death Magnetic. That was like the one that came out years after Saint Anger. And then I don't know who did their last one. From what I understand, Rick Rubin's a little hard to work with.
You know what? He's so zen that I don't know. He doesn't seem like he could be hard to, like when you see the documentary of him producing 99 Problems, he seems so chill and letting Jay just do what he wants.
That's his lane. More like hip hop and you know what I mean?
That's what
like
I'm
he
thinking.
Was producing Run DMC and the Beastie Boys back then, and you know.
Did he produce Chili Peppers at all?
I'm not entirely sure.
Neither am I, but something in my brain says he did. I might be wrong.
It's possible.
But I'm definitely like for me, I'm expanding my musical horizon so that I could actually bring in other I mean, after the Foo Fighters thing, I'm like, how many more Foo Fighters are there that I'm not hearing? Like, how many musicians am I not listening to because I have an idea of them in my head that I'm missing out on? So I'm gonna check out other music as much as possible on this iPod you got. Like, I saw Anthrax. I was going A to B. I was like, I've never heard Anthrax. Like,
you're gonna learn a lot about me. You're gonna learn about the phases of my life listening to that shit.
It can't be bad. I guarantee you that. I know for a fact it won't be bad music. If it's not in my lane, fine, but it won't be bad music. I guarantee you that.
We'll see.
I'll be like, oh, I mean, it's not my thing, but whatever. I mean, like for me, I bet you I can listen to Metallica's older music and be like, I see how this is good music. It's not in my lane, but I see how this is good. For some reason, I liked older stuff or newer stuff from them, but maybe I like older stuff. I haven't listened to it, but their newer stuff really was just like, you know what? I think it was also the guitar riff and the idea behind Inner Sandman. I'm like, oh, how did they come up with this idea of that spooky thing in your bed? Like every kid has that nightmare. That's some scary crap, dude.
Don't get me wrong, man. It's a good song.
That's a dang good song, man.
And I liked it when it came out. I still like it. It's just not my favorite chunk of Metallica. It's not my favorite phase.
That freaking guitar riff. He can start it and play it anywhere in the country, dude. That's hard to do. That's some Beatles stuff. You know how Beatles had guitar riffs? Like if he goes, boom, ba-da-da-da-dum, do-dum, do-dum, boom, ba-da-da-da-dum. You know what song that is. And so you're like, oh, they made these guitar riffs where you're like, I know that song before they start. Same with Metallica with that guitar riff. You know that song before it starts.
Oh, it's timeless, man. And I would bet to say that that's like one of the most played riffs ever.
Oh, we should totally do a show on most popular guitar riffs. Because there are a lot. Though there's a lot.
You challenging me, man?
I'm challenged. Here's what I'm saying. If you bring a top 10, our top 10 are going to overlap incredibly. Because there's only so many that are there, dude. There's not many where I'll be like, oh, I forgot that one. Now, I think the most famous guitar riffs are going to overlap. And a lot of them are going to be...
You just listened to that little iPod I gave you. That
I'm totally G. I'm surprised you have the White Album, actually.
Why
the Beatles that? White Album. I don't know. I just didn't think
the Beatles, man.
Do you love the Beatles?
Speaking of the White Album, but not really speaking of the White Album, what did you think of... You heard the Gray Album, right?
Yes, with Danger Mouse.
Yeah, have you heard that before?
I did hear that before it got taken off, yeah. I loved it, and I used to listen to it online, and I didn't think about putting it on something. But then when they took it off, because technically, copyright infringement and things of the sort, and they took it down, I was like, oh, I should have... But you know what's funny? That album, when they took it off the internet.
It really dropped off.
How? It used to, you would think it would exist somewhere. They did the Prince thing where when he was alive, it was nowhere. No Prince albums.
I know. What kind of money are they paying to put these walls up where no one can get to? Usually you look hard enough, you can find these things. And that's not to say that you couldn't with those other albums that we're talking about. But you're right. It was pretty much... It was like you had to go to the dark, not the dark web, but the deepest corners of the web to find that stuff.
And it was so deep a corner of the web that you were afraid to download anything. You're like, should I even be downloading from this site? But it was nasty. The fact that he put, those two albums together, the Black Album and the White Album, it's pretty genius, dude.
And they meshed perfectly too.
Perfectly. Now, do you think that meshed as good as Linkin Park with Jay?
I would have to say I like that album better. I like the Gray Album better. But Linkin Park's album with Jay's good. I like it.
That's a really, like, when I heard, okay, that was ahead of the time. Like, don't get me wrong, Run DMC did it with Aerosmith. But who was doing that at the time? Who was mixing?
I think Run DMC was like the first ones to really, they were the first ones to mix rock and rap like that I can think of.
Exactly. And then
Public Enemy followed closely afterwards, though.
They did. But then also LL kind of did it with Rock the Bells.
Beastie Boys, License to Ill. Yeah, their opening track was the riff on the behind. It was Sweet Leaf by Black Sabbath was the opening track to that one.
I would have to say
Rhyming and Stealing.
LL has to be the first one with Rock the Bells. Because LL Cool J is hard as but I think that was it. Yeah, I think boom, 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 boom. That was a bad song. Gee, Rock the Bells was that one, though.
Was that Rick Rubin?
I want to say it was. It had to be because it was Def Jam.
Yeah, that's right. He was kind of exclusive back then, huh?
Yeah. Def Jam was a beast going all through that time. They were the beast, man. But I think I loved Encore. Jay-Z Encore with
Linkin Park.
Linkin Park was so good. It was very different than how Encore now, don't get me wrong, I still love Encore the way it is. Cause here's the thing. Here's what Jay-Z has that people don't understand. The opener. Like when he opens, who you know fresh in their home? Riddle me that. The rest of y'all know, like that question right off the jump. Come on, what are you talking about? Who you know fresh in their hole? That's a great opening line. So right off the bat, he gets you. Right off the bat. And what song doesn't he have a great first line?
His lyrics are so sick.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hove. H to the O-V. I used to push snowflakes by the O-Z. Come on, G.
I really like that version on the Gray Album when he does that. I don't know. There's something about the way that's mixed that sounds so good.
That Chuck is... And people didn't like the Black Album, mind you. They didn't like that album.
I did. I liked it.
I think they don't like it because of how that's when you know you have a great library of songs, is when the okay, really cool album sucks to you because all of them are so great.
Okay, check this out. Check this out. So I kind of dropped off of Metallica when they released the Black album, right?
Oh, interesting.
And then people dropped off of Jay-Z when he released his Black album. So maybe it has something to do with like the Black album. Maybe that's their point, where maybe the Black album's where they go more commercial.
Or maybe that might be it. Or maybe the Black album is when they try something new and either it works or it doesn't. Look at the Beatles, the White Album, technically called The Beatles. But they tried something brand new and it worked for them. Metallica tried something brand new and it worked for them. Jay-Z tried something brand new. It didn't work then. Now you hear all the hits that were actually there. He can't go a concert without doing PSA, public service announcement. He cannot not do that song. And that's from the Black album. It took a while for it to grow on people because it was just ahead of the curve.
What do you think went down with, do you know, maybe I'm going to use your Prince knowledge right now.
Yeah.
So what happened with his Black album? Why did that one just disappear? Do you know?
I do not know.
But I don't really know why. I don't know why it's gone, or why it was never produced.
I think what happened was, now I may be wrong, and our listeners can technically tell us. I think he was pushing out these albums to satisfy the requirement for his Warner Brothers.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, I think I remember hearing something about that.
He was push him out just to say, okay, I'm done. Now I get off of Warner Brothers. He was able to do Emancipation.
So I wonder if this album was one that was supposed to be with Warner. Was it Warner Brothers? Is that what you said?
Warner Brothers, yeah.
And maybe they just didn't like it.
They definitely didn't like it. It was too much. He purposely
too non-commercial.
Of course, yeah, totally. They didn't want to release it. But he got out.
But now you know why, because it's so dope.
Woo! Now let me tell you something though. I love Prince now. Don't get me wrong. I loved his stuff throughout his career. But when I listened to Erotic City, I was like, he was on another freaking level. I don't even understand how he made that song in the 80s. How? That doesn't even sound like an 80s song. It sounds like a now song that's trying to be retro, but it's so pushy. How did he make that song in the 80s?
But that whole riff though. Boom, doom, doom.
Come on.
Boom, doom, doom.
Come on.
That's the shit.
That song is
another song that you could play anywhere and they'll know who it is.
Now, do you think though? I don't know. Because that sounds very not Prince. The way he's singing, like when he's singing low in the beginning, that doesn't sound... Yes, who does that? That doesn't sound like Prince. Some people be like, that's a Prince song? Now, he coupled it.
He coupled it with like that kind of squeaky young Prince.
Yes. So good. Now, our parents' age, they'll be like, oh, we know exactly what song this is. They're going to know off the jump. But I think the people that are Prince fans will be like, what song is this? I mean,
he had the background vocals by Sheila E.
Come on. And Sheila E. contended that she said funk on the record.
No, she didn't.
Come on now. And then they found his handwritten lyrics, and they're like, oh, no, you did not. No, you didn't.
We can funk until the dawn.
Come on.
Making love till cherry's gone.
Come on.
That's
funk,
a cherry that gives it the old college try right there.
So it's funk, so pretty, you and me. Come on. Come on. And then you think Prince will let her sing something different? No, Prince is going to be like, no. You sing these lyrics as written. Or he could just get someone to do it. And she was so head over heels for him, she did it. Or maybe she just liked the song so much she did it.
Remember, I got you this job, Sheila. Just sing the song.
But bruh.
That was the worst Prince imitation ever.
That wasn't bad. You know who does the greatest Prince imitation?
Who's that?
Fred Armisen.
Fred Armisen?
On SNL. Have you seen his Prince imitation?
No, I haven't. I've seen him dressed up like Prince, but I just, you know what? It hasn't stood. It doesn't trip any memory with me.
His little smile to the side when he's not saying anything and the girl's doing that Beyonce. I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what Prince looks like. It was weird. It was just downright strange. But
I was watching a Netflix stand-up comedy thing of him, Fred Armisen.
I was
it was
wondering,
like stand-up for drummers.
For drummers, and I was like, Dan seems like he would really like this.
Jumped
Did
right
you
on
like
it. Jumped right the fuck off of it. No,
No.
man, I don't get Fred Armisen at all. I don't get his humor. I don't.
So you're
obviously
not
people
yeah.
do. The guy's famous, but I don't get his humor at all. I was just watching it.
Okay.
I was sitting there talking with my kid. We were watching it together, trying to laugh. And we basically just looked at each other and like, this is not funny at all, is it? No, I was trying to tell you the same thing. I was thinking the same thing. It was horrible. Damn. I don't recommend that one.
Word?
Yep. But that's for another show. That's for another show.
Hold up, though, real quick. So you're not... Okay, yeah, that's for another show, I guess. Okay. But before we... Hold on. I wanted to... Speaking of shows, we watched a show this weekend, and before said show, there were previews. Previews of which nothing really stuck out to many people because you said you didn't remember a few. The companion I went to said, oh, I forgot all the previews except 2. And one of them she remembered because she did not like it. And that one was Solo. Mind you, she's a Star Wars fanatic. So I thought, oh, this is going to tickle her fancy like crazy. Mm-hmm. She was, like, I even looked at her when they showed, who's homeboy? I'm not a Star Wars. I forgot his name. Brother Man?
Oh, wait. Are you talking about Lando?
Yeah. Oh, Lando. So when they showed Lando, I looked at her and no reaction.
Donald Glover. I was trying to think of his damn name for a second. It escaped my memory.
It's like, you know who that is? She's like, yeah. And after it was over, I said, hey, so what's up with the Star Wars? And she's like, I don't, like, why are they doing, I don't even understand, why are they doing this? Like, he doesn't even look like him. There's nothing that makes me, she's like, I'll see it because it's a Star Wars thing, but I am not excited about that movie. I said, Dan said the same thing. Like, what's going on with you?
Sounds like verbatim, man. Yeah.
What is up?
I don't know. I think did everything right. Like I said last week, I think it all comes down to Alden Ehrenreich, or I think his name, Alden Ehrenreich, I think is how you say his name. It all comes down to him. And from what I've seen so far, it's him saying lines as Han Solo in a Han Solo movie, but it doesn't sound anything like Han Solo. I saw the same preview yesterday, and I was talking to my son about it, and he was like, yeah, no, but it's a young Han Solo. I said, I get it. He's like, but it took him a long time. Yeah. He said, but it took him a long time to get that cockiness and that confidence, you know. This years have gone by because the movie itself has like a 6-year span. And I said, okay, I'll give you that. But still, I'm not buying it so far. So maybe it'll be good. I have no clue. I'm going to see it. It's going to make a ton of money. Probably not as much as the saga ones, but it's going to make a ton of money, dude. They're not going to care. Disney's going to be like, thank you. Cha-ching.
Dude, isn't it Ron Howard?
It is Ron Howard. Richie Cunningham.
Yeah, it's over. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a great movie. He doesn't make bad movies. He doesn't know how to. He could accidentally make good movies. That's what he does. I would have to look on IMDb and tell you if I agree with you if he doesn't make bad movies. I actually think that's actually a really good pickup though. He doesn't make, no, I'm standing by my statement. I don't think he makes bad movies. Like you might find one that you're like, you know what? I didn't dig that movie, but I'll say, is it a bad movie? You're going to be like, nah.
Well, sure, bad. Because there's personal taste involved.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's some objectively bad The Room is a bad movie.
Yes, that's an understatement.
So I don't think he's not saying made a Room, but like there's certain other movies that you're like, no, that is a bad, we all generally say that's a bad movie, but I don't think he's made a bad movie.
As far as directing goes, let's see.
Yes.
Oh, he's got a whole bunch. You know what? I never cared, but people liked him. I never cared for any of the Da Vinci Code movies, but they weren't bad movies.
Oh, you know what? I never watched them.
I didn't care for him. I didn't know he did Willow. You know he directed Willow?
I didn't know he directed Willow.
I didn't know that. I'm looking right here. Willow. Far and Away was not a popular movie.
I like that movie. Isn't that the one with...
no, I'm just kidding. Oh. That's Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman.
He made a great movie in 1982 called Night Shift. Remember that one?
Never saw that movie.
That was with Henry Winkler and Michael Keaton.
I never saw that movie.
I think they were running like a call girl business or something like that. He made Cocoon.
Come on,
man. Yeah, Cocoon's great. Splash, another good one. Parenthood, another good one. So yes, he's made a lot of great movies. Come on,
man. He's not going to mess up on Solo.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing much that would make me just hate the guy. Besides that, he's Richie Cunningham. He's Opie Cunningham.
Come on.
As Eddie Murphy used to call him, Little Opie Cunningham.
But I don't think Like, here's the one thing I worry about. I know that the directors before him, how much did they actually do before he came on is the question.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I think that he was able to go in there with like free reign. And I know they did a lot of reshoots, which is always, to some people, the death nail.
And it worked. Apparently.
We'll see.
Bruh. And,
we'll see.
Okay. We shall. Dan is on record saying we'll see. That is a definitive stake in the sand.
Yeah, my verdict's still out. I'm not sure what's going to happen with this one. I think I'll like it, and I'll probably see it at least twice. But doesn't mean that and the first time is going to be, did I like it? Like I always do. If I see a movie twice, which is what we'll be talking about shortly here, I'm like, did I like that movie? I'm going to check it out again, and I'll probably go right back in and watch it.
That's real. And so, okay, that's up in the air for Dan. Now, what about the Ant-Man and Wasp trailer? How'd you like that?
I think that movie looks dope. It looks fun.
It looks fun. That's what I said.
It looks more fun than the last one. The other one, that was another movie where I was going in like, And again, rewrites, director change. And I was thinking, well, let's check it out and see. And I ended up liking it more than, I think, you know what it was, Steve? Is that I went in with low expectations.
Same with me.
And I ended up liking it.
Yep, that's what I did. And you know what? I'll tell you, this one, the poster is genius. I didn't think there was anything on the poster.
On the Solo poster? Oh, you mean the Ant-Man and Wasp?
Yeah, I did not see anything until you get up close and they're really small in the middle. I was like, oh, that's genius. It looked like an empty poster. It just said Ant-Man and Wasp. I'm like, that's all they're going to put? And then you see these tiny little things in the middle.
Marvel's now become like that with Disney involvement and just the way these movies are succeeding.
Clever.
They're all going to make money. There's not going to be a movie. There's going to be movies that make more than others, but they're all going to make a ton of money, especially opening weekend.
Because they know what. Here's one thing Disney knows how to do: print money.
Oh,
they know how to print. I mean, and people don't like. I know people do understand, but they think Disney, this and that. If you strip away all their movies, they have amusement parks that are making how much a day? A day.
I'm pretty sure at this point Disney doesn't need us. It's just all extra.
That's all it is. But here's what I love. That means that they love pushing out product. They love pushing out good product. That means because they could just sit and rest on their laurels, no problem. I mean, you can never say anything bad about the people who made Mary Poppins. If they only did Mary Poppins and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, game over. Those are two musical. And if they only did, those things, we're good. You know what I'm saying? But then they push out, didn't they do the Jungle Book too?
Yeah, with Favreau's involvement, yeah.
Come on.
Lion King, they're doing it now. They're just doing it again. They're just doing live action reboots now. But they know how to sell a product. So it's going to be, no matter what people say, it could get the worst review. It's going to make a shit ton of money.
Totally. I mean,
speaking of making a shit ton of money and Disney at the same time, you know what I heard?
What's that?
I think it's going to be, I don't even know if they have an actual, I guess you could call it opening. Let's say opening day.
Yeah.
In Florida, they're making a Star Wars themed hotel.
I heard about that.
The moment you walk in, you're completely submerged. The help is probably all going to be scripted and costumed, and you can go on adventures if you stay at this place, and you don't even need to go into the park for any of this stuff. That's going to make so much money, and my nerdy ass will be there.
But isn't it like 5 racks, though?
I don't know. I don't think they have any prices yet.
Oh, it's going to be like at least 2.
It's going to be so expensive. I was telling Gail about that yesterday. She's like, well, I guess we're going to have to start saving now. So yeah, probably.
Dude, that's going to be so expensive. But it's worth it because they're not going to half butt it, G. I'll tell you that right now. They're going to go in there and be like, we're taking people's Skrilla. And if you don't pay the Skrilla in the hotel, we'll get your Skrilla in the other stuff. For sure.
And if you don't think we will, just remember, you paid $10 for a churro at Disneyland.
Dude. Come on, dog.
on the churro level, we're ranking money out of you. We're just,
and mind you, I'm one of the few people that don't like Disneyland. Don't like
When's the last time you went there, though?
Took my son.
When
he was 3, 4, 5.
It's changed a lot. But if you didn't like it then I don't know why you would like it now.
Yeah, I don't, and like, it just wasn't my, like, I don't like amusement parks in general anymore, except for one, and I only like that amusement park one day out of the year. That's it.
Oh, right. What is it? You don't, are you against like roller coasters or something?
No, I want something like roller coasters. I get, I think actually, I think my son messed me up because he doesn't like roller coasters. I said, why don't you like roller coasters? And he said, why would I want to be scared on purpose? I'm like, dude, that's a very profound question you just asked me. And I just sat there looking at the screen after that. He just went back to his game, and I was like, why would you want to be scared on purpose? I take
it he'll never go to Hollywood Horror Nights or anything like that?
He's not. He said he'll go with his friends, but he's like, I know I won't die getting scared. On a roller coaster, not only are you scaring yourself, but something could happen.
That's true.
Something could also happen for real. So he's like, yeah, no. Here, let me tell you a quick story. This is such a side story. So one day, like, Maj never wanted to get on a plane, right? Never. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm not going on a plane for all these years. And so I'm like, Maj, I was like, you're going to have to get on a plane. He eventually did for the Edison trip, the huge Edison trip. But he said, I'm not doing it. So I said, look, the statistics are so low of you crashing that it probably won't happen. And he said, holy cow, it could just crash, huh? I said, what were you scared about going on a plane on in the first place? He's like, oh, I just didn't want to go on, but I never thought of it crashing.
He was just afraid of the vessel?
He was just afraid of getting in to the plane.
Dad, I got a fear of tubular winged vehicles. That's new. That's a new one, man.
I was like, what?
Plane phobia.
Exactly. He's like, holy cow, it could crash. I was like, oh no.
That's funny.
But anyway, I think for me, the Star Wars hotel, the only reason I would go is because I think that's something I would like, but you just can't is it going to be enough where it's a self-contained thing where you don't have to go to Disneyland afterwards? You could just go to that hotel and it's a self-contained experience.
I think to some degree, yeah. I don't really have a whole lot of information on it yet, but I know that from what I understand, it's more like a resort.
Oh man,
and like I said, there's going to be these you're submerged into Star Wars when you go in there. There's adventures you can go on. I heard that there, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I did hear just recently, I think it was on the Ralph Report with Ralph Garman. Good podcast, by the way, if you like that, but you got to pay for that one. Anyway, he was saying that the windows, like when you look out your window, they're going to have scenes. So like you're looking out your window, watching like space battles and shit like that. And
this is happening.
It's totally happening.
It's happening. I'm there with bells on. No, I'm going. If I could exist in space for a while.
Please wear bells. Just wear bells though, please.
Gee, I will. No problem. If I could exist in space, why wouldn't I? When it looks like space outside, I'm going.
Fuck, I don't know, man. If I could look out and see like the Death Star battle or something like that, dude. Or the planet of Kraid. I don't know. I'm just gonna get nerdy right now, but I was realizing now it would just be going shoo, shoo, shoo over your head. Yeah, but if I could see anything, if I go out and see one of the Star Wars planets or one of the like Mos Eisley or something like that, that would just be the dopest thing ever. I don't even know if I'd go outside. I'd just be look, just looking through the window. I'd be like a little kid. Little kids are like, what's that? What's that? That would be me.
Here's what would kill if they did a thing where instead of how you have an all-night buffet, if they had an all-night like starship thing where you could fly and it's a fully immersed 3D and you could just fly and explore planets and go around, and if you have to get into a fight, you can at all hours of the night. You can just wake up, go into the thing, and go. Gee, what is that gonna be?
I know that when I say this, you're just gonna have like, oh no, but you watched A New Hope recently, didn't you? Episode 4. Okay, so the cantina. Dun, 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 dun,
oh, that would be so fun.
Yeah, if you just had that 24/7, you could just walk down there and have a cast. But then again, the only problem with that is that you're going to have a bunch of like drunk douchebags in there too, probably.
Oh no, Disney doesn't play that. No, they will not. You'll have a person getting drunk and then escorted off the premises.
I'm not going to go there this time around, but Disney does not play when it comes to drunks.
Oh no,
and I know that firsthand.
Oh, word?
Yeah,
that's a story.
That is a story. I got kicked out of. I'm not going to tell the story right now because we got to get going. But I got kicked out of a Tenacious D concert at House of Blues in Disneyland on Disney Walk for being too drunk.
That's what you get, bro.
But I wasn't being like, well, I guess that's biased.
Exactly. Look at this dude. Okay. Mission.
I was just stumbly, and I'll leave it at that.
No, but were you bumping into people?
I probably. No, I think what it was. Okay, here's the short version.
Yeah.
We had tickets to go see Tenacious D. It was in Anaheim. We're in Fresno, which is about 4 hours away. And it was going to be at like 7:30 at night was when it started. I got off a little bit early. Gail had already packed up. I said, I'm going to pick you up. We're going to haul ass to Anaheim, and we're going to make it on time, which we did. So we get there, a little bit of extra time to kill. at that point, I was going through a little bit of gin and tonic phase, which was the devil to me. And that's why I don't drink gin and tonic anymore. But I didn't have anything to eat. So I was like, you know what, let's just have a few drinks real quick. So clunk, clunk, clunk. And then, of course, at that point, you know, I wasn't feeling any pain anymore. Went to the show, watched the opening act. Tenacious D started. And that's where it all kind of got gray and blurry. But I guess I kept drinking. And I was just like stumbly. The guy was like two-fisting drinks and like spilling it all over the place. All I really remember, and I barely remember, was getting like some guys going, "You got to go." Took me outside. And then they told Gail, who was in the front row, enjoying the hell out of herself, that, you know, hey, does this belong to you? And I'm like waving at her through the window. I don't think I was really waving.
Wow.
Through the window. But, oh yeah. So she ended up leaving early. And to this day, I still haven't quite been forgiven for that.
Wow.
That is the very, very short version of it. I've told this story many times, but that's the shortest version I can tell.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan was a wild man.
No, Dan was just drunk. Dan was just drunk.
And you don't do that anymore. You're a good person. Not saying good people don't get drunk. Good people get drunk too. So
I don't get publicly drunk like that anymore. I don't think so anyway. Unless I'm hanging out with my buddy Phil, and then it's almost like we're going to get arrested every time we hang out together.
That's terrible.
We've somehow managed to not, but it's always right around the corner. Got to be careful when I hang out.
I'll be ready for that call from the precinct.
Good. You got me? You got bail?
For sure.
Thank
not
you,
with
sir.
your homie though. Not with your buddy though.
That's okay. He's rich. He can do his own thing.
Oh shoot, you're good. He's good. Well then maybe he should stay.
I'll just let him bail me out.
Yeah, there we go. And
Like, this is all your fault.
So the next preview is Mission Impossible. What'd you think?
You know what? I like that one, man. I think that it looks good. I haven't really watched every single Mission Impossible. I think, what was it, the one that I really did not like? I think it was 2. Wasn't 2 the terrible one?
The one with Philip Seymour Hoffman?
No, I think that was 3, but you could be right. I would trust your opinion over mine.
Oh, no, I don't know.
I'm not a huge
I
Mission
forgot.
Impossible fan, but I was watching that, and I'm thinking to myself, man, is Tom Cruise, like, immortal? Like, that dude doesn't age. He's pretty much looking the same. He looks good for his age, you know, and he's still doing his own stunts and everything. I think Henry Cavill looks pretty dope in that one. He looked like he was going to kick some ass.
Did you see when he flexed out his fist to fight?
Yeah,
I was like,
cracks his neck. I was like, oh shit, it's on. Yeah.
But now
that one looked good.
Yeah, here's what I understand. I get why they said, no. We're not shaving his mustache for your film. You're going to have to do the other way around because we need this to work. And I think this Mission Impossible is going to be ridiculous. I think it's going to be...
It looks really solid.
I love every single one, but I love how, I knew as soon as they said, your mission, if you choose... I almost flipped out of the seat. When it said, your mission, if you choose to accept it, I was like, oh, snap! I couldn't wait! Because
I didn't like follow it that much to where I didn't realize we were going to be talking about her. I think I would have taken a little more mental note, but yeah, it shows him sitting at that area, and
dude,
the message is starting to self-explode, self-destruct rather.
So effective, and then you see, like, there is a thing about doing your own stunts. When you see him hanging on a rope from really high up, I'm like, oh, that looks different than if it was CGI. That looks different. It looks like, I mean, he's doing crazy stuff. He's tempting fate.
He's a Theta 7, man. He can't be touched.
That dude, that's true. He's almost going clear. I loved that. I'm going to watch it. You already know. Now, this next one, you're not going to watch, you said. Probably not. And that is The Wonderful Jurassic Park.
You know, I think I'll probably watch it for the show.
Really?
Just for the podcast. I'm not a huge Jurassic Park guy, to be honest with you.
The first one, you were.
Sure, of course. Game changer. But after that, honestly, yeah, I'm pretty much cool. But I think I'll watch it. I just won't have a lot of, there's not going to be a lot of fandom behind it because it just wasn't my thing. Okay. But I loved the first one. I thought the first one was totally original. And then after that, And the last one, what was it? The Lost World? What was it called? No, Jurassic World, right?
Yes,
See what I'm saying? I don't know. I thought, okay, Chris Pratt, watched it. I like Bryce Dallas Howard. She was good. She was fine. But it's just a movie that's just...
Yeah, for me, it wasn't a good movie, dog.
And
I wanted to like it. I like Chris Pratt. I wanted to like it.
I really wanted to like it.
But I think here's the thing that he's doing that is really smart. Like, whoever his agent is needs the Agent of the Century Award because they took him from Parks and Rec and convinced somebody that he was a superstar, superhero for Guardians of the Galaxy. Whoever his agent is a genius.
Gave him a little creatine and some weights and said,
Dude,
go for it.
And mind you, he got the part before he even did that. How the crap did he do that?
Chris Pratt's great.
He's really
if you watched Parks and Rec, which I know you
funny.
did, he could do no wrong on that show.
It was a good, and I think what he's done that's so smart is he's with Guardians and he has Jurassic Park. 2 of these massive franchises. He doesn't have to do anything else if he doesn't want to. He's on 2 massive franchises.
Yeah, he could pretty much just cruise out the rest of his career and be fine.
Game over. So I'm really excited to see that. But you know what's funny? That's the last one we're going to talk about. We're about to get into our review, man. Is there anything you want to let the listeners know before we go?
Hey, guys, go to our website, www.heroesofnoise.com. Check it out. See what we got going on over there. If you want to write in, you can hit us up at, I almost said ask the word podcast. You could reach us there, but that's for a different podcast. You can hit us up at heroesofnoisepodcast@gmail.com. That's the short version. I'll give you the long version on the next part here. Give you a little something to wait for, all right? Let's talk about something that's really important to Steve here in the next episode. I know you're fucking pumped for this, right? Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna cap this one off right now. So without further ado, let's get to it, Steve. Onward and upward. Episode 16, here we come. Bye.